clapping it away. Myself 30M and wife 30 have been together since we were 18, married for 3 years. About a month ago she said she has been miserable since we've been married. As soon as we got married, I started a new job and we had to move away from our families and our support systems. I got pretty consumed with work as it is a high-stress job. We don't go out ever, we never have date nights, we just focus on saving as much money as we can become a great team at this. Well, of course I have seen that I may not have put my marriage first, so I vowed to make that happen at all costs. I have set up a counselor starting next week and asked her to go to counseling with me. She refused and says she's not sure she wants to work on it anymore as she feels like she has tried to work on it all this time. I obviously feel heartbroken. Well, along this same time frame I find out she has a new male friend at work that she is texting all day. This obviously doesn't seem right to me, but I just tried to keep trusting her. Well, I decided to do a little more investigating. I added the guy's contact info to my phone so I could see his status in the messaging app. So, every time he and her were online at the same time, I would walk near her. She would immediately switch out of the app into another app or to the home screen and make some awkward casual statement. What's the weather app you use, or what was the name of that thing? Also, she asked the guy to get the app, so I assume she is the only one he talks to on there, and his profile picture is a selfie of him posing shirtless in the gym. I'm even more heartbroken now at this point. She admits to deleting messages from him. She texts him all day and a lot at night. Last night, I saw she was texting him, so I said to her, "You talking to your buddy?" To which she replied, "No, talking to my sister." She was talking to her sister as well. So, she straight up lied to me and showed no signs of remorse. She has been so distant and secretive. Now I know a lot of people are going to say she is sleeping with him, and right now I don't think that is true because she hasn't had the time. I do think that it is heading that way though. Now this brings me back to the being miserable for 3 years thing. I decided to go find all of our cards to each other for the last 3 years worth of anniversaries, Valentine's, birthdays. Every single card is riddled with positives about the relationship and how well it is going and how proud she is of us. I showed her the cards and poured my heart out to her, and it seemed that she was at least understanding. 2 weeks ago, she tells me she has been thinking about getting an apartment, and that maybe some separation will help. I of course tell her that we need counseling and that separation will not help our marriage, no avail. Now I am stuck wondering how the hell to keep moving forward, or what to do. I am just lost. I can't continue to let her walk all over me and lie and be deceptive. But I also don't want to tell her to leave because that just gives her more opportunity to pursue this other guy. She says that if we separate, it would be a temporary, healing separation and we would still see each other often and date. I just don't know how I feel about this. Obviously, the hopeful side of me says yeah, that would show her what she is missing. But the other side of me thinks that it's just a ploy to go this other guy and get out of our marriage. Am I looking at a case of grass is greener syndrome? I desperately want my wife back committed to our relationship. I have no way to put spyware on her phone. She has it with her at all times. Also, she would probably be able to tell. Phone, she sleeps with it on or under her pillow. Takes it with her to the bathroom. Carries it around the house. I don't have access to it ever. Plus, if I installed something, it will show up in the applications manager, Android, and she is more than intelligent enough to be checking there. I have circumstantial evidence in that I can see when her and the guy are online at the same times on WhatsApp, and I have kept a log for a few days. In some ways I wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea to just let her move out and see how hard life is without me. But I know this just presents more time for her to nurture her affair. This is where I am really torn. If I could just know the truth, I think I would feel so much better. I am starting to understand the reality that I may be moving on without her in the not-so-distant future, and it is truly a scary thing. She has been my support, backbone, and world my entire life. Oh, and she is smoking hot. Done with the relationship. I feel that I am near my breaking point. She is still texting this guy all the time. Everyone here says to expose. My question is exposing really the right thing to do when our marriage was pretty bad due to my neglecting her for a couple years before her affair started? Right now, I can have an amicable legal separation of finances where she will get half of our checking and savings and leave everything else alone. When I expose, she may not be quite so willing to be amicable about the financial separation, demanding much more than just the checking and savings. We are talking an extremely significant amount of money. So, it's my thinking that it would be wise to protect my financial interests before stirring the pot. Now, would you mind giving me your viewpoint? I'm sure your viewpoint is extremely valid with all of the experience you possess. I can't really move money without getting attorney involved. Also, I forgot to mention that she actually admitted that she has feelings for someone else. She texted me 2 days ago and said, "Do you really think we can continue when I clearly have feelings for someone else?" I am currently working on all of the exposure emails, messages. I have a few questions regarding this. 1. I have no way of getting email addresses of people at her employer. Also, her AP is her boss. What should I do in this situation? 2. Evidence, is it really enough? So let me explain the evidence that I have. I have photos of her car at his house showing the number on the mailbox as well as the license plate number of her car. I have a screenshot of a message she sent me that states, "Do you really think we can carry on when I clearly have feelings for someone else?" I have a photo of his profile photo that he put on the app that they use to message each other. I have a log that I have kept for a few days showing what time each of them went online. Offline showing that they were texting each other, circumstantial at best. 3. Is sending the exposure letter by text message acceptable for her friends, family, or is email really necessary? Since I am almost positive that they are not utilizing company resources, they are using their personal mobile phones. I have modified the workplace exposure letter. Please provide feedback. I will post my modified letters to the others later for your review. Should I mention any of my evidence here? Should I mention she's my wife? Should I really put my name, number on it? To whom it may concern. This letter is to bring a matter to your attention that may be a violation of your company's code of conduct or other policies, procedures, and business ethics. The P and WS are involved in an extramarital affair that is taking place, primarily, in the workplace. Aside from the potential harassment claims this situation presents, it also involves the inappropriate use of company time. While they are utilizing their personal mobile phones, they are spending an inordinate amount of what should be productive work time in order to further their extramarital relationship. So here is the friends and family one. Please critique. Dear friends and family, I am writing you this message because you are an important person in the lives of W, and I, as some of you know, W has recently asked me for a separation, which has shattered my heart. I am willing to accept my part in the issues at hand and am committed to making myself better for our marriage. However, to my shock, I am saddened to have discovered that the reason is because W has been carrying on an affair with her manager named OM who resides in X. The purpose of the separation is so that she can gain some distance, but quite possibly so that she can carry on her affair without my interference. She refuses to end the affair. I want our marriage to recover from this affair. If you have any influence on my dear W, please do what you can to get her to stop this dangerous affair. I want to stay married, but the affair must end. As our friends and family, I am asking that you use your influence with W to persuade her to end her affair. Try to work on our marriage. Our marriage can be salvaged if she would only end the affair and work with me on our issues. Please support her in doing the right thing. Please support our marriage. I know it was planned before the affair started because it was planned before my wife got a job where the OM works. As far as why I think they are not together, I have already told her sister about what is going on. Her sister would not cover that up. And her sister is definitely going with her, as I have talked to her husband as well. I have been communicating with her sister about the hotel reservations and using points and stuff like that. She is going to get a lease tomorrow, so I need help now. Sorry for the short notice. Help. The financial conversation is going to happen soon. Give me your tips, opinions. I was thinking something like, you already know that I do not agree with the idea of marital separation. Also, you obviously haven't ended your affair with OM and appear to have no intention to do so even after the issue with me finding you at his house and you admitting you have feelings for him. I think it is in both of our best interests if we separate our finances, as I don't want to support a marital separation or the continuance of an extramarital affair. If at the end of all of this we reconcile, then we can just as easily reverse this and recombine our finances. Her admission of having feelings for someone else was the final blow. It shattered any illusion of reconciliation. I knew what I had to do, and it wasn't going to be easy. I called her into the living room, where I had already laid out the financial documents. The air was thick with tension. We need to talk, I began, my voice steadier than I felt. I understand now that our paths have diverged. You've made it clear that your heart lies elsewhere, and I can't, in good conscience, continue pretending that our marriage stands a chance. Her expression was a mix of surprise and resignation. She knew this conversation was inevitable. I agree to the financial separation you've proposed, I continued. It's clear to me that we need to start building our lives independently. The conversation about finances was surprisingly civil. We agreed to split our checking and savings accounts, and she would leave the rest of our assets untouched. It was a fair deal, considering the circumstances. But the real challenge was yet to come. The next day, her sister came over to help her pack. There were no harsh words, just a heavy silence that filled the house. As she moved her belongings out, I felt a wave of emotions wash over me. Anger, relief, sadness, and a sense of freedom all at once. It was the end of an era, the closing of a chapter in my life that had brought both immense joy and profound heartache. As she handed me the keys and stepped out the door for the last time, I felt a sense of finality. This was it, the end of our marriage. The house, once filled with our dreams and plans, now echoed with the memories of what used to be. My comment: you can't ask people to stop their affair nicely. She is too used to that side of the relationship. Time to get the hell out. Story 2. We are both 45, married older at 35. Together for 2 years prior to marriage. First marriage for both, but we had both had previous LTR. We have one 4-year-old son with serious disabilities. His birth is when the problem started. My top 5 needs are probably more masculine than most, but I've always been a tomboy, so I guess it's not that surprising. In order for me, recreational companionship, family commitment, honesty and openness, fulfillment, and physical attractiveness. I would say financial support would be a close sixth, but it didn't used to be for reasons I will explain. Bottom of my list is admiration and intimate conversation. I get plenty of that from my sister and female friends. My husband refuses to read the book, so I'm just guessing his based on what I know of him. Fulfillment, admiration, domestic support, financial support, although once again this is in an unusual way, and recreational companionship. So, it sounds like we ought to be mostly okay since we have a couple that overlap, right? Unfortunately, having read the book, I think that at least part of our problem is that neither one of us has a need for non-physical affection or intimate conversation. And I think both are important enough that we probably need them even if we don't think we do. Okay, the issues. 1. Recreational companionship, number 1 for me, number 5 for him. But I want to be out doing things, hiking, skiing, traveling, adventuring. He used to like those things, but these days he is significantly overweight. We'll address later, and his idea of recreation is watching a baseball game or playing a video game together, neither of which I want to do at all. I want to be outdoors. 2. Fulfillment, number 4 me, number 1 him. Neither one of us cares much about emotional connection and bonding. We both like our bonding results driven. Unfortunately for me, once he has achieved climax, he could care less if I do or not. He very often finishes quickly and leaves me to finish alone or not at all. He's also a very rough lover and has hurt me more than once. There is no love making to our bonding, which makes me not want to sleep together much even though I have a strong need for it. He's also around 330 pounds these days, which has mostly killed my physical attraction to him, and he doesn't care about his weight. 3. Family commitment, number 2 for me, not even on his radar. He spends almost zero time with our son. Never bonded with him. Sometimes I truly believe he wishes he had never been born. We literally never go anywhere as a family except to visit family, and even that is rare as I can't stand his parents and he can't stand mine. He can't be bothered learning how to relate to our son despite his disabilities. Has gone so far as to suggest that we have him institutionalized, which I will never agree to. If it comes to choosing between my husband and my son will win. 4. Honesty and openness, number 3 for me. Once again, it's not even on his radar. In fact, I sometimes think he is a pathological liar. He doesn't just lie to get out of trouble or to avoid unwanted consequences. He lies about things that are not even important. He also refuses to be open with me about how he spends his time when he is not at home. I can't begin to count the number of nights dinner has gone to waste because he's late coming home from work and doesn't bother to call and tell me, just gets fast food and eats it in his car. 5. Physical attractiveness, number 5 for me at this time. I don't think it matters much to him. It wasn't a big deal for me either until he hit about 280 and just kept gaining. He's well over 300 pounds and it's neither attractive or healthy. It sounds horrible, but it's disgusting. The thought of sleeping with him these days makes me ill. When we do sleep together now, we usually do it with him behind me. 6. Financial support. This didn't used to be a big deal for me because I had a good job. But our son needs full-time care, and although we have a home health aide who comes in a few times a week, I still don't feel right working outside the home. I also don't drive anymore, which is also an impediment to working outside the home. I do have a small home-based business doing social media ghosting and web development. So financial support is very important to me now. But it's not an issue because he has a really good job, which he loves BTW. For him, though, there is a problem with me not working. Even though we can afford it, he feels like I am lazy and taking advantage of him. Which leads into 7. Domestic support, which is a big deal to him because his mother was June Cleaver, Little Miss Perfect Homemaker. And father and bro-in-law never did anything around the house. If mom-in-law got sick, she still soldiered on. And if she was in the hospital, bro's wife and I were expected to come over and take care of the house for father. My expects me to be the same way. He does nothing to help out at home, not even the typical guy things like mowing the lawn, shoveling the driveway, or washing the car or taking the car for repairs when necessary. He says if I can't do it, then hire someone, which to me is hard because I grew up poor and spending money on mowing or plowing or whatever seems horribly wasteful. I am a good housekeeper, but there are days when I can't keep up with my son's needs and keep the house to his standards and put a meal worthy of his mother on the table. So, he just eats out while I'm stuck at home eating alone while his dinner gets cold. 8. Admiration. This is a big deal to him that I'll admit means nothing to me. I am trying to work on it, but lately I don't find much in him to admire other than he is a good provider, which is sadly offset by the fact that he is grossly obese and a lousy father. 9. Non-physical affection. He likes back rubs once in a while. I like foot rubs once in a while. I wouldn't mind if he was a little more snuggly sometimes, especially when I am down. I suffer from anxiety on a regular basis. He doesn't believe anxiety is a real psychological and medical condition, which pisses me off. We very rarely touch each other outside the bedroom. We never have. I don't miss it, and if he does, he's never said so. 10. Intimate conversation. We are both quiet, introverted people. Yes, we used to talk more about things like books and music and other topics of interest. We know each other's pasts pretty well. I know his first fiancée broke his heart by sleeping with his best friend. He knows I was date raped in college. Nowadays conversation consists of arguing about where to go for dinner. He prefers going out to eating at home. Or how the Yankees and Bills are doing this season. Lousy, the kind of things I talk about with my female friends. He rolls his eyes and zones out. All he ever talks about is Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, but at least I listen. A couple of other things that don't fit above but do fit into the whole joint agreement thing, I suppose. Church is important to me. I'm very religious and it's also my only social outlet. All my family and friends are there. Not only does he not want to go with me, he wants me to stop going, and to not openly practice my Christian beliefs around him. This partly goes back to his lying. He actively pretended to be a Christian while we were dating to win me. He dumped it practically as soon as the ink was dry on the marriage license. He's actually an atheist with little use for organized religion. The less important thing is music. I like Celtic and contemporary Christian. He likes metal and heavier alternative. There's not much common ground between Mercy Me and AC/DC. But he insists on listening to his music in our house when I'm there but won't let me listen to mine when he is at home. I guess it comes down to I feel like I am the one making all the compromises to make it work and he's not willing to compromise at all. I desperately want to change this dynamic, for our child's sake as well as my own. Having read the book, I see some changes I can make and I'm willing to try. But shouldn't he meet me halfway? At the moment he is unwilling. I am hoping that if I do better at meeting his needs and lowering my LB behavior, he might get on board the program with me. It's that whole POJA that is a problem for me. If one of the things he is not enthusiastic about is spending time with his own child, and one of the things neither one of us is enthusiastic about is spending time with the other's family, how do I accept that? I love my husband, but I also love my son, and my family, and he loves his family. I really feel sometimes like I am being asked to choose between them because my husband only wants to be with me alone, and that's when he's home at all, which is less and less as time goes on. On top of that, our son has a limited lifespan. I can't bear the idea of sending him away when we only have maybe a decade more with him, as long as we can afford to get the care he needs at home. He works Monday through Saturday, 12 hours a day on weekdays and about 4 hours a day on Saturday. Sundays he usually spends at his parents' house or with his brother. His commute is 2 hours per day and he travels overnight a few times a month, sometimes for up to a week at a time. And yes, he wants to have our son institutionalized. It was his mother's idea initially, but he is totally on board with it. He is very uncomfortable around our son and can't seem to learn to interact with him. We have a state-provided home health aide 20 hours per week, but she is rarely there when he is, and he blames our son for taking all my time. I'm his mother and the doctors have told me that I will probably lose him before he is 18, so it's really hard for me to be away from him, especially since he has bad spells that could theoretically be fatal at any time, so I have real anxiety about being away from him. Especially since all my husband ever wants to do is go to the bar or the ballpark or the arcade or the casino, none of which I consider worth leaving our son for. I would much prefer it if we could go to family-friendly places with good handicapped accessibility, and take our son with us, but H doesn't like taking him anywhere with us. I don't honestly know if he thinks it's too much hassle or if he is actually ashamed of him. When I actually try to give him the benefit of the doubt, I wonder if he's afraid something will happen to son while he is with him and he won't know how to deal with it, so he avoids it out of fear. If he refuses to bond with him because he knows we are going to lose him. But he won't talk to me about it, so I just don't know. So, I should just give up my number 2 emotional need for family connection because he's not enthusiastic about spending time with our son. I've already compromised on my number 5 so that he continues getting his number 1. I am very curious how many people here would actually institutionalize a terminally ill child to save their marriage. How do you choose between the needs of the child and the needs of the parent? And would it save my marriage anyway, when I would spend the rest of my life resenting him for it? I don't want to leave my husband, and I don't think he would ever force this issue, but I need to find a way to get us back on track from all the barriers our son's very existence seemed to have built between us. It's very lonely, and it's breaking my heart. He doesn't want to go on dates with me. He wants to go to the arcade and play video games for hours like a 16-year-old. He wants to go to the casino and waste money on a pastime I consider a sin. I'm not 100% sure he's not using prostitutes at the casino, since he's admitted to doing so in the years between his last LTR and our relationship. The only thing he really seems to want from me is a 5-minute-long physical encounter a few times a week that consistently leaves me either frustrated, sore, or both. I don't see how he could be having an affair. When he travels, he's in a different town or city every night, and often he doesn't know where he is going more than 24 hours in advance. Most of his work involves assisting with opening new stores, closing underperforming stores, or putting out fires. Crisis management. He's very good at what he does and he takes his job very seriously. But it would be difficult for an affair partner to join him. And there is only one casino in his region and he doesn't get out that way all that often. But even if he's not using prostitutes, he's blowing about $1,000 a month gambling, which to me is almost as bad as cheating. When he doesn't get to the casino, he spends his Saturday afternoons at the local off-track betting bar with his brother and their old high school buddies. I know it's hard for him. I only deal with a stressful home environment. He has to deal with a stressful home and work environment. I just don't know how to make home less stressful. It might help to get a full-time live-in caregiver for our son, but as long as he keeps gambling, and he always loses, we can't afford it. The state aid we get for him only goes so far, and even if we could somehow solve the issue with our son, we still have so many other issues to address. His weight, the lousy bonding, him thinking I am lazy because I don't work outside the home, him never being home except to sleep, his constant disrespect and never telling me when he's going to be home late or not at all on any given night. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to leave him unless he's cheating or tries to force the issue of institutionalizing our son, but I want to have a good marriage again, more like it used to be before our son was born and H checked out emotionally. When we were dating, we went to sports bars and watched football, had slept together, went out to eat at expensive restaurants, had slept together, went to the beach, had more fun, went to museums, long road trips, camping, hiking, concerts, antiquing, had even more fun, went for rides on his motorcycle on the East Coast, and you guessed it, more fun. I know this, our relationship would never have even gotten off the ground if we hadn't started sleeping together only 2 weeks after we met. And now, of all the stuff on that list, the only things we still do are go out to eat and sleep together. And it's not good bonding like it used to be. It's just about him getting off. Our son is too small to need a wheelchair yet. He rides an especially equipped stroller. We don't even need a handicap van yet. There is no reason whatsoever that we couldn't still get out and do things as a family. Plenty of other people do it. But he won't. And he won't even tell me the reason why. I hate doing housework. I do it because it needs to be done. My H refuses to help because his childhood upbringing taught him housework was women's work and only a single man living alone should ever have to do it. If we both got what we wanted, our house would be a pigsty. The only solution I can see is hiring a maid service, and as long as he refuses to stop gambling, that's just not something we can afford. I learned very early in our relationship that if something needed to be done, I would have to do it myself. Prior to our marriage, my husband was literally leaving his apartment a disaster area for weeks at a time until his mother came over and took care of it for him. He is an unrepentant slob, but I have to give him credit for doing a very good job of hiding it from me until we were married. I know Dr. Harley doesn't think living together prior to marriage is a good idea, but I never would have married him if we had lived together first. I would have run after a matter of weeks. I want so much for us to return to our good days. Unless he is cheating, I have no biblical grounds for divorce. So, I need to find some way to fix this before I have a nervous breakdown. I've already been in the hospital 3 times in the past year with panic attacks that had me thinking I was dying. I will try to talk to him this weekend about finding things we can do together as a couple again. I can't guarantee he'll stay home long enough to have a decent conversation though. After all, the NFL playoffs start this weekend, and that's so much more important than your wife and family. I can't afford to separate. I only make about $8,000 a year, and I can guarantee you if we separated, he would refuse support without a court order. He can be very vindictive and spiteful. I could never support our son by myself, and I've been told that the family court system would probably side with him on the idea of having our son institutionalized. My parents came and stayed at our house for a few days after my panic attacks. All 3 were visits. I was never admitted overnight. And luckily for me, all 3 happened when our home health aide was at our house. She is a wonderful woman who has been a total blessing to us, and I don't know what I would do without her. My H thinks I am too reliant on her and refuses to pay for her to come full time. As far as his reaction to my panic attacks, he basically told me I was being melodramatic and attention-seeking and to grow up. He doesn't believe that mental illness exists. He thinks it's all just an excuse for bad behavior. But he is also correct that he is not responsible for my anxiety. That started after my accident, which is not uncommon. Aside from no longer being able to drive, I now suffer from severe anxiety in certain situations, including being in a car on bad roads, which is 6 months of the year here, being around crowds, being in loud places, the sports bars he loves so much. We are both disrespectful to each other. I complain far too much about his long hours, gambling. I've been pretty nasty about his losses, his weight problem, haven't exactly been nice there either, and lack of interest in our son. I have deliberately held back on telling him how much I hate his current tendency to take his fulfillment at the expense of mine. I know no man wants to hear he's a lousy lover. He tells me I'm lazy, overly concerned with our son's needs. I have no right to tell him what to do with his money when I don't work outside the home. I'm boring because I won't go to bars anymore. I'm a lousy cook and housekeeper who should take lessons from his mother. I'm willing to work on my disrespectful behavior. The question is whether or not it will prompt a positive response from him. It's not that he doesn't let me know, it's that he doesn't always do it in what I would consider a respectful time frame. He knows I start supper at 5. He should know by 5 whether or not he will be home that night, in time to let me know not to bother making waiting dinner for him. As far as his mobile devices, his phone, tablet, and laptop are all provided by and the property of his employer. I'm guessing it would be illegal for me to install anything on them. He's not even allowed to put apps on them without prior approval from his department. Since they foot the bill, we've never seen the need to pay for him to have a private phone. Because it is a work phone and he's a fairly high-ranking manager, he has passcodes on everything. As far as our home computer, he only uses it for video games. We don't have high-speed internet at home, so he doesn't do MMO. Although I guess he does play Warcraft sometimes from his hotels. He has no social media accounts that I am aware of unless he is using an alias. He's always told me he thinks FB is nothing more than a chat room for immature female gossip, and he has no use for it. I am so tired of him spending all his non-working hours watching sports, but he just refuses to stop spending all his free time at the bar. This issue has existed since long before our son was born, so it's not an avoidance thing. I used to go to these kinds of things with him, but with my anxiety issues I just can't handle sports bars anymore. They are just too loud. Not to mention the second game won't be over until around midnight, and there's no way I'm leaving my son with a sitter for 8 hours straight 2 days in a row every weekend for the next month. I've gone so far as to offer to host game nights at our home, but he says he likes the crowds and the camaraderie of the bar environment. While I worry about him getting hurt or arrested in a bar fight or DUI, both of which he has done in the past. After 4 days away this week, he got home about midnight last night and went straight to bed. In the guest room, not our bedroom. By 8 a.m. he was already gone again, said he had to go into his main office to catch up on paperwork. Told me not to expect him home. He suggested I call my parents and that son and I spend the weekend with them if I can't handle being alone. I've been crying for the past half hour. I don't know if I can do this anymore. I feel like a single parent, not to mention unloved, unwanted, and unimportant from his point of view. And since my husband seems to think I am too needy, should I consider implementing the 180 program and see if he is more attracted to me if he sees me seeming to have a perfectly good life without him? When we met, I had been living on my own for 15 years and was very independent and self-sufficient, and that was a big part of what he liked about me. Having a disabled child and having me not be able to drive or hold a job outside the home seems to make him feel overwhelmed by home responsibility. My license. My doctor revoked my driver's license, so unfortunately not an option. I got rear-ended at a traffic light because I stopped way too soon and the other driver wasn't expecting it. I've also been falling lately when moving from one height to another because I misjudged the distances. I've had terrible dizzy spells since the accident as well, which makes me worry that I probably shouldn't drive even if I could. The doctor said the dizzy spells are probably due to the anxiety. I've been talking to sister-in-law. She is apparently having similar problems with his never being with her on weekends. We have agreed that we are going to leave the kids with my specially trained sitter tomorrow and join the guys for their games. We just won't drink with them. I know H will call me a wet blanket for refusing to drink, but I just don't like it anymore. Hopefully I won't have an anxiety attack. And maybe tomorrow morning I'll skip church and see if he wants a bedroom session before breakfast. Well, he's already gone again. Got home around 2 a.m., slept in the guest room again, told me over breakfast he was going over to his parents to snowplow the driveway and clear the snow off their roof. Then he's going to hang out there until the games start. I asked him if he wanted us to join him and he said no, it was too much hassle to get the kid ready to go anywhere. I had no time to have a conversation with him because he grabbed his coat and keys and left while I was in the shower, leaving me to clear our driveway, which really gets me because he knows how hard it is for me. But he's willing to do it for his parents, who have a snow blower. We only have a shovel but a longer driveway than them. It's pretty obvious to me at this point that he is actively avoiding spending time with me. Never got a chance to talk to him about joining him for the games this afternoon. Wonders now if he would even want me to. Guess I'll call my Sil and see how Bill reacted to the idea. He's cheating. No question about it because we caught him. His brother is also cheating. Not affairs with just one woman, but once or twice screws in the back rooms of bars with different women every weekend. So probably the same thing on the road. They've apparently been playing wingman for each other, and who even knows how long it's been going on. Sis-in-law and I will be scheduling STD first thing tomorrow. She also intends to get a lawyer and file for divorce immediately, but she doesn't have my Christian belief system. I at least want to discuss this with my parents and my pastor first. I probably will divorce him though. I don't know how I can forgive this. I've been crying since my sis-in-law came over a few hours ago and dropped the bomb. I had decided not to go to the bar tonight, but apparently our conversation this week got her red flag radar going and she decided she would go without me. Both of our husbands were there with other women, and when she confronted one of the employees, she got an earful. Apparently, the bar has rooms upstairs you can rent for a couple of hours to betray your spouse with total strangers. I'm half tempted to call the cops and find out if what they are doing is legal. Not that it would do any good. I'm so confused right now. Lost, hurt, furiously angry, suffocating. I married late because I was hoping maturity would bring better judgment and a marriage more likely to survive. So much for that idea. They know that sis-in-law saw them, so I doubt either one will come home tonight. Where the hell am I supposed to go from here? He almost has to come home if only to get clothes. Do I confront him? Do I just throw him out? Well, I came downstairs this morning to divorce papers which, based on the date on them, he started filling out months ago, along with a note stating he was planning on waiting until spring to file, but since the cat is out of the bag, he figured there was no point in waiting. He's sorry he hurt me, but he can't handle the stress of a disabled child, and well, he doesn't think he's capable of monogamy, and he probably should never have married to begin with. I haven't more than glanced at the divorce papers so far because I'm just not emotionally ready to deal with it. I already called my sis and it looks like bro did the same thing to her. She's coming over in a little while so we can commiserate and talk about how we are going to handle this. I do know if he's this sure he wants a divorce, I'm not going to fight him. I just can't believe I was that blind to not see that he was that completely detached apparently months ago. It would appear he started the divorce papers way back in April. Based on the papers, he's offering me everything I would ask for. He just wants out. He says I can have 100% custody with no visitation on his part. I can keep the house, but he'll keep paying the bills. He says he'll continue to support us until our son passes, and then he'll expect me to find a way to support myself. It's really obvious that he put a lot of thought into this and that he either cares enough, feels guilty enough, or both, to want to do right by us financially. I feel a lot worse for sis-in-law. Bro-in-law is apparently being a jerk. But from what she says, their marriage was a lot better than ours, so she's really in shock. I can't honestly say that I'm surprised at all. About the cheating, yes, but not really that he wasn't happy and wanted out. I just thought he was unhappy because of our son, not because he felt trapped being in a monogamous relationship. I don't get it. My in-laws have a really good, over 50-year marriage. How on earth did they manage to raise not just one but two sons who would act this way? My comment: there are some silver linings to this cloud, you just can't see them right now because the cloud is so thick at the moment. For one, you don't have to make the very hard to choose of whether to divorce or not. I could see this was very difficult for you based on your religious beliefs. But now you know that he is a serial cheater and habitual liar, and has no intention of ever changing this behavior. When it comes to serial cheating where the wayward spouse is actively seeking multiple affairs, the wayward spouse has to be 100% on board and willing to do anything it takes to even consider recovery, and even then, it is very, very difficult. You don't have that at all. You have a serial cheater who is 0% on board and has no intention of change. So, you don't have to make a valiant effort here after all. You can divorce and there is nobody who would judge you for divorcing in this situation. You can go on and create an amazing life for yourself. You also know that he doesn't care about your son and considers him a burden only. As a mother, this is very hard to know, I'm sure, but it gives you the strength to protect him and create a better life for him away from this person. He has offered you a very good divorce deal. The best part of this deal is full custody with no visitation. Although in some ways you are angry and insulted for your son, at the end of the day, there are many divorcing mothers who would love to have this option. If he walks away, it will save you years of constant contact and headache dealing with a wayward. And I think it is the best case scenario for your son here too. You can move on with no questioning or regrets, knowing you could have done nothing to save this marriage. You can create a better life for you and your son.